Saya juga sambil intip kok Pak.
Apa?
Bikin contekan.
Iya.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon from Indonesia. Alhamdulillah, today is the second day of international course in Islamic Finance and Halal Industry held by Department of Development Economics, University of Muhammadiyah Malang. We are very happy to welcome all the participants around the world for joining the course. Today's topic is about the rise of halal industry and financial technology. As one of the largest Muslim population in the world, Indonesia has become a leading country in halal industry, and it makes Indonesia the world's biggest market for halal products. And before pandemic, the spending on halal products had reached more than $2 trillion. The potential must inspire business owners to work in the halal industry. There must have been a collaboration program to develop the halal industry. The support of the Sharia economy and finance in Indonesia can help to strengthen the ecosystem and create a comprehensive supply chain cooperation. The halal industry is highly related to a halal certification. Indonesia has MUI or Majelis Ulama Indonesia, an institution that issues a halal certificate. The thing is, both customers and also producers hesitate about the halal certificate. Consumers feel limited in choosing the desired products, while producers think the requirements for obtaining a halal certificate are very complex and take forever. And the questions are, what is the measurement of halal aspect for products and services? And what is the role of Islamic finance in supporting the development of the halal industry in Indonesia? And we have special guest here. He's an expert and also practitioner in Islamic finance industry for more than 7 years. He obtained his degree from INSAFE, the Global University of Islamic Finance Malaysia. He's now working as Senior Business Development and Strategy Manager in Islamic P2P financing business in Alami FINTECH. And without any further ado, I think we will welcome Mr. Firmansyah Shidiq MBA.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, baby, for your kindest welcome. And thanks a lot, everyone. Yeah, that's such a very honorable time for me to speak here. Yes, I'm Firmansyah, and definitely today we'll be learning together about the rise of halal industry and Islamic fintech. We're happy. Yeah, as you mentioned just now, like how to link both area of the halal industry and also Islamic fintech is very pertinent and instrumental. Hence, we believe that actually the people need to advance not only about the consumptions but also the productions, because yes, Indonesia, we are the largest consumers, but we are lack of the producer side. Mm-hmm. Whereby we as an Islamic finance industry, specifically in Islamic fintech, we have a very vital role, mm-hmm, how to make those producers to be more aware in terms of the halal certifications, as well as in getting the Sharia compliant financings toward their business.
Yeah, that's right. And for your information, the Department of Development Economics, in collaboration with Alami Group, support the Center of Excellence in the department through Islamic Banking course. Yeah, and it's Mr. Firmansyah is the lecturer.
Yeah, there's such an honor as well for me to serve the Department of Economics Development. Yeah, I've been lecturing for the last 1 month, I think. Not 1 month, 2 weeks, and that's such a very exciting experience as well for me, mm-hmm, because I think that's the first program that was designed by the Ministry of Education and Culture with regards to the praktisi mengajar. Mm-hmm. Praktisi mengajar is in English is a professional teaching in, mm-hmm, the campus. Mm-hmm. So I hope that both of the academia and also the practitioners could work together on how to link the theoretical and conceptual knowledge and also the industrial development about halal industry and Islamic finance.
Yeah, it also helps students to study and also understand more about the industry. Yeah. And I think we will jump into the topic.
Okay.
Yeah, what about the halal industry development in Indonesia?
Okay, so I think moving on to I think we have slide with, mm-hmm, the operator as well, right? Okay. All right. about the halal industry in Indonesia. Definitely like what Bu Happy said just now, it's emerging. Government has put a very pertinent and also urgent one of the roadmap. Even like the KNEKS has the master plan to advance the Islamic finance and industry, not only from the downstream but also to the upstream. So the supply chain must be integrated with the Islamic halal industry and also Islamic finance. So with that, I think the government has put a very serious and also significant ruling in terms of the development of halal industry. But more than that, the role is not only with the government, but also how the industry, how the academia, how the community could advance and could make the halal industry as one of the priority into their life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's emerging. Even based on the Global Islamic Economic Report, it's mentioned that our ranking is within the top five, even though that's not really good, as we are one of the largest Muslim population in the world. But then I think from time to time, from year to year, we gradually incline our positions as one of the most improved, I think, in terms of the halal industry itself.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I think before jumping to the industry perspective, I think people has to know, right, what is actually halal and tayyib first, right? So I think moving on to the next slide, I think, yeah. So actually in Islam, the concept of halal is very simple. So halal means permissible, right? And tayyib means good, which is in English, like most of the people, like the Western people, associate halal with ethical, nutritious, organic food, then like things that actually does not really tarnish your body. It could help your body to maintain itself, and the foods have to be really processed in such a very compliant manners. So actually, halal and sustainability, because sustainability really induce about the concept of ethical, I think really emerge each other. So I think that's the most important one, about the concept of halal and tayyib. I think moving on to the next slide. I think next one, this one, as I mentioned just now, halal industry in Indonesia still number 4, right? We're still against Malaysia, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, because like I mentioned before that we're still winning in terms of the largest importers and also consumers, but in terms of the producers or the manufacturers, our industrial landscape are still toward that. So the industry, the governments, the academia, and also the lecturers, the university side, even now the Majelis Ulama Indonesia, not only the single entity, right, that could provide certifications, but as the mandate from the BPJPH or the Indonesia Accreditation Agency for Halal, now even campus like University of Muhammadiyah could be one of the halal supervisory institute to help the surrounding enterprise, SMEs, right? So the halal certification could even more faster, could even more reachable and affordable for the people. Definitely with a certain standard that has been set previously by the previous successor, which is the LPPOM MUI. So I think that's my 2 cents about the halal industry development in Indonesia. Bu Happy.
Yeah. As you mentioned, it's about the halal product, I mean the food. What about the other, like the halal tourism or something, like more services?
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thoughts about that, I think government of Indonesia, Bapak Sandiaga Uno itself, has been invited into the roundtable with the Islamic Crescent rating, like I think in the beginning of the year, talking about halal tourism. But actually, to make it more inclusive, now I think most of the governments, even like one of the Islamic tourism body, now they're not only talking about halal tourism. So they rebrand the name of halal tourism into more inclusive way of branding, which we call it as a Muslim-friendly tourism. Because when you associate the halal tourism, sometimes people who are Muslim or non-Muslim, they will think that we need to visit such a holy sites of Islamic place. Then actually we're visiting like the Islamic what is it, Islamic scholars like this kind of things, or masjid, for instance.
Yeah.
But beyond that, actually, the Muslim-friendly tourism, or people can talk about halal tourism, Islamic tourism, is beyond that. But how actually the people, like the tourists could enjoy their tourism activity, like you mentioned just now, services, into a very comprehensive manner. For instance, like there is a provisions of halal food, there is a provisions of halal accommodation. Along the way, they are going to the beach, for instance. Along the way, they are going to the mountain. So there is the integrations of halal provision or halal, halal related infrastructures and activities toward enjoying the tourism activities. So beyond halal itself, now most of the government, even like I worked before with the Ministry of Tourism Malaysia, they prefer the terminology Muslim friendly tourism and services instead of halal tourism. But I think the concept of halal still remains relevant for food, for unliving creatures like food and beverage, then cosmetics, pharmaceuticals. But then I think for services now, most of governments do not really want to segment the halal, become very exclusive for Muslim only, but they call it like Muslim friendly.
Because the halal term is very robust, like we have to make it clear what is the halal specification, especially for food, because Muslims are required to eat halal food and something like that. What do you think about it?
I think with regards to the I mentioned just now, it needs to be very specific and it needs to be very measurable. So about the halal just now, halal actually from Quran, the meaning is very simple, right? It's permissible, and tayyib means good. But we as the scholars, we as the practitioners feel that actually the halal itself means that actually it needs to be with the way of how Allah wanted us to conduct our daily living. For instance, like we just need to eat food that actually are, or chicken or cows that are slaughtered in the name of Allah, for instance. Then we could not consume food that contains alcohol, food that contains any substance that are not permissible by Islam. For instance, blood, flesh, and then what else? Like there's a alcoholic substance. Even now, even in fatwa by National Ulama Council of Indonesia, the one national MUI, they even prohibit the consumption of even the naming or the branding is not in compliance with Islam. For instance, like Jahannam, hell, neraka, like all setan, that kind of things. Even though by substance they're halal, but by naming they're not tayyib, right? They're not good. So there is a blessing or there is a barakah for us if we want to consume that food. So I think that's the I think that's the understanding of halal and tayyib in my perspective.
Halal is not only about the label.
Halal is not only about the label, definitely.
And what do you think about it? Like the impact for both consumers and also the producers if they cannot obtain the halal certificate.
Okay, I think as per now, the consumer behavior in Indonesia, most of people now are, not everyone are aware about that, Bu Happy. But I think the halal consumer behavior is rapidly and robustly developing. For instance, like most of people, even now in Instagram, in LinkedIn, in any kind of social media, there are some called halal influencers. They try to emulate the adoptions, the awareness of halal food and beverage, even accommodations to Muslim and non-Muslim. And I think for Muslim per se, I think that's very essential. Not only we think that actually, okay, halal is good for us because we follow the rulings of Islam, but beyond that, like we discussed just now, there is the concept of tayyib. So there is a barakah when we consume our meal, when we consume our beverage, and even in the concept of tayyib itself, even Islam really put attentions in the ingredients of our food, in the ingredients of our beverage. So, for instance, the food could be halal for everyone, but it could not be tayyib for everyone. For instance, we give a very hypothetical example, like both of us are not having a diabetes. Then there are others that have a diabetes. So consuming like halal chocolate milk could be halal and tayyib for us, but that's halal for those who are with diabetic sickness or symptoms, but it's not tayyib for them, right? So I think that's first for the consumers. So it's very essential for consumers. And then for producers, I think it really connects with their unique selling point and competitiveness. I think like largest FMCG companies like Unilever, P&G, even like, yeah, I do not want to mention like food retail chain like McDonald's, KFC, Subway, Chat Time, they need to certify their product as halal certified. And the producers, if they want to grab the Islamic market, if they want to grab the Muslim market, even like those who are not Muslim, but they think that halal is also good for them because that contains elements of ethicality, the nutritious of the ingredients. So I think that's very crucial in the current time where people, where the producers try to compete with each other, and they can even show that their product is not only halal but also tayyib. Even like it's not tarnishing the environment. Their products are responsibly sourcing.
Yeah.
Like for instance, they get the palm oil, for instance, as their raw materials. Then how they get the palm oil in such a very sustainable way, not tarnishing the environment. So I think that's very crucial for both consumers and producers in the long run.
Yeah, that's right. As you mentioned before, you mentioned about the influencer. I think people more believe in influencer than the government.
Yeah.
I think the government should support more the influencers so they can influence the good thing to people.
Yeah, sort of like, you know, like the government maybe perhaps seen as someone who are very serious on it.
Yeah.
I mean, but then
they have different approach.
Agree with you, like a different approach. The government formalized the set of regulations, set of like compulsory for the industry, but then the influencers are the one that actually try to reform, try to reshape the information into more consumable way for us. So it's easier to digest, easier to be understood by millennials, by Gen Z, even by baby boomers, our father and mother, even like, oh, okay. So I think, yeah, that makes sense. Like halal is good, halal is tayyib, then halal is permissible, and that's good for my health, that's good for my generation. So I think the role of influencer is how to encode and decode the information that are so complex, for instance, for the government, but then into more easier and more convenient way of information grasping to the grassroots level, or even to the to our level, happy, or even those who are with no background at all with halal and Islamic finance.
Yeah. And what about the Islamic finance?
What about the Islamic finance role in halal industry?
Yeah, in the halal industry.
Okay, so actually I have my slide, but that's quite a long way to go from what is it? I think you can go to the slide, Alami slide. Yeah, Alami slide is about slide 45 or 46. Well, it talks about our commitment to strong financial ecosystem partner and for halal industry value chain. I think what is it? I'm a bit sorry if like we jump into another, but I think this conversation is really flowing. Then the slide might go faster and even slower.
That's okay.
Okay, so I think
you can tell me more about the halal certification in Malaysia, so we can compare to Indonesia. Okay.
As per my previous experience, working and studying in Malaysia and even working in Indonesia and serving here, I think one of the things that really differs between our government or our regulatory bodies with Malaysia is about the complexity of the process. I think Bu Happy must be agreeing with me on that. We have a lot of smart brains, we have a lot of smart people here, but then when it comes to process, we always are the one that are seen or perceived as the as the one that could not execute it into a simple manner and simple way. So with regards to the Indonesia process of halal certifications, with the previous regime, we need to go to LPPOM MUI, right, which is governed by the Majelis Ulama Indonesia. But as per now, the mandates from the government has been taken over by the BPGPH under the Ministry of Religious Affairs. Then now, and even the transition on the two governments during that time are, I think, not that really smooth. And even though the BPGPH under the current regime try to, to make more inclusive for the halal certification, then there are a lot of process ramifications that are now even the small medium enterprise even can go to LPPOM MUI, they can go to BPJPH, and even now and even they can go to the campus. Those who are endorsed or like registered under the BPGPH as the supervisory agency of halal. And I think that's one of the things that make the producers are very perplexed, are very puzzled on how to process the halal certification, even though now the process is getting smoother and smoother. But in Malaysia, for the halal certification process, everything is under one door. Everything is managed under one patron, which is managed by JAKIM. JAKIM is actually like the LPPOM MUI, right? So everything is there and everything is digitized. The process is digitized. Process is easy. I don't mention in Indonesia it's not easy, but I think we're having more complex bodies here. Even though now some of the small medium enterprise in Indonesia even could self-declare their halal certifications with the new regime of BPGPH. But then I think that's diverse between Indonesia and Malaysia. So by improving the process, simplifying the process, then giving incentives like the government do just now, I think government are working hard on it, on the halal integrations for people. But then it takes some time, definitely. If we want to take over the Malaysian positions, definitely Malaysia has started over earlier. And we have just ramped up our process to be easier, to be more leaned in a way that people, especially those who are not familiar with halal background, could really, step up and learn, experiment how to take care of their halal. That's all. We're happy.
We still have a lot of homework to do.
A lot of homeworks to do.
That's right. And actually, the academician, we do the community services to help the SMEs.
That's great.
To prepare the documents to get the halal certification. So actually, that's one of the I think that's very noble way of actions. Even like I think the small medium enterprise will be very happy because you assist them, right? As an act of community service. Well, that's the collaborations must be very integrated and well-rounded from academicians, practitioners, then like the government, the business owners,
business owners as well, definitely, and even the consumers.
To the consumers, and to build the awareness to consumers and also the producers, we need to give them the socializations and for the awareness of the halal products and halal certification. Because at the end, we're the one that will consume, right? At the end, we're the one that will consume. Even like there's some sort of like, apathy, skeptical view that actually, what is halal actually?
What is halal actually? What is the urgency? What is the emergence of halal?
Is that important?
Is it important? Is it urgent? But then we understood that for one to another people, the process of learning is different. So we could not judge, or we could not really like say that people, hey, you really need to know that halal is important. But I think now is how we approach them in such a very smooth way. Then halal and tayyib could be more received well by the people. And I think about the emergence, like I think people now is getting more critical. They're getting smarter. Informations are available everywhere. But then how to act and how to execute the actions wisely from the informations are the most challenging part, right? I think we're happy.
And in the long term, it will become a new behavior.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think that's the key of the main ultimate goals, right? Yeah, the main ultimate goals that we want to achieve. Yeah. So shall we move on to the role of Islamic fintech just now?
Okay, sure.
Slide number 46, 46 or 47. Like, why is Islamic Sharia committed to be part of strong financial ecosystem partner? I think just would like to bring a real case study instead of like just like what's the previous one, I think.
Yeah, what Alami has been doing for the halal industry.
Next slide. Yeah. Next slide again. Yeah. Is it the last slide? Oh, no. I think go back. Yeah, go back again. Go back again. Back again. I think this is back again. Back again. Yeah. Before this. Yeah, this one. So yeah, thank you. Why is Islamic Sharia as one of the Islamic fintech that really committed to be part of strong financial ecosystem partner for halal? So as all of us know that Islamic fintech and Islamic bankings have to be getting a license and regulation from OJK, right? Financial Authority Service of Indonesia, for those who are coming not from Indonesia. So actually one of the government agency or government regulator that allow us to operate in Indonesia. Then our core value, core mission and ultimate goal is actually Sharia first, baby. And we want to serve the community not only by obtaining Sharia financing, but also Sharia financing means that actually all the business owners, all the entrepreneurs have to conduct their business in halal and tayyib manner. And even like Alami is strongly involved and supports into the accelerations of the Islamic Economic Master Plan that actually was ratified and formulated by KNEKS for 2019 and 2024. And as a role of the Islamic fintech, go to the next slide. Yeah. So the roles of Alami as the Islamic fintech, that actually, when we talk about halal certification or halal financing, Islamic financing is how we can support the Islamic financing for the corporations or for the industry that actually are working from the downstream to the upstream. For instance, take for example like cow farming or kitchen breeding, peternakan farming. Then we need to ensure that actually from how they actually breed and manage the kitchen from as a raw materials, they're slaughtered in a halal way. Even their feeding must be in a halal manners, right? Their feeding could not be artificially conducted. So I think that's very essential. And here, Islamic financing could play a role in providing supplier financing or distributor financing for those. For instance, like if they want to, take example like Jaffa. Jaffa, I put one brand to make it easy. Like the Jaffa or Charun Pokpan, for instance. Then actually they would like to distribute their products to the distributor, to the for instance, like they produce nuggets, for instance, right? Yeah. They produce nuggets to the supermarket. Then we provide the financing in the form of supply chain financing to them. And then we need to ensure that actually all the products are already halal LPPOM MUI certified. Then after this, from the upstream level, then we go to the middle stream level. After in this distributor, for instance, like Hypermart, then Superindo and other department store. Then, for instance, like there is the entrepreneurs, like for instance, like restaurants. They need to buy the nuggets or the chicken-based products from the supermarkets. Then we can provide the invoice or purchase order financing for the restaurants. Because now I think a lot of restaurants also already been very aware and informed that they need to be halal certified. I think around Malang there are several restaurants. They serve Korean food Indonesian authentic food, Western food, they are already halal certified. So we support the invoice and purchase order financing for them. So yeah, I think that's the logic, right? We not only help from the upstream, middle stream, but also from the downstream. So because the financing activities are encompassing into each of the supply chain level, right? Yeah. From the from the breeding of the products like the chicken, for instance, the cow, the goat, for instance, until it is served into our fork. And even like some of the Western or Middle Eastern people mention, it needs to be halal from farms to fork. Means that it needs to be halal from the breeding process until we eat that into our into our mouth. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the role of Islamic FinTech, specifically Alami, into that halal industry.
Yeah. So it's halal from upstream to downstream.
Yeah. Halal.
It has to be. It has to meet the regulation and also the rules, the halal certification. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Even though we do not really like, for instance, means that the entrepreneurs need to be all halal certified. Then there are some people or even some entrepreneurs who are asking to me about that. Hey, government has not even obliged or make the compulsory for the F&B to be all halal certified because the regulation will just be like effective as of 2024. But then Alami try to induce and encourage the business owners and entrepreneurs to be more halal certified per se. If they're still in the process, we are okay, but they can declare themselves that actually the process from the upstream to downstream, definitely with the site inspection, site visit, so they could make it, they could make it to be more, halal. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have questions here.
Oh, okay. I think that's I think that's more interesting.
We already have questions here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the halal product trend in the future?
Halal product trend in the future. I think we can go with the slide as well. Yeah.
As we can see now, we have the halal cosmetics.
Yes.
Or even halal refrigerator.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Halal refrigerator, even halal shocks,
halal
hijab.
Yeah,
right, halal hijab, right. I think let's go to the data as well. So it's going to be more insightful, I think.
Yeah.
I think, madam, could you go to the slide that talks about the flourishing food tech innovation and manufacturing alliance? It's slide 23 or 24, sometimes around that. Because I edited the slide last time, so we might not have the same slide, right? Yes, this one. So how do you see the halal food and industry trend? Like what you meant before we were going to Indonesia, yeah, Bu Happy, yeah? I'm not sure the questions. The people who are asked, is it from Indonesia or from Indonesia? Okay, but let's compare with other with other countries first. Based on the Global Islamic Economic Report, even like the company like named Sanichi Japan, they developed ASEAN first halal gelatin plant and industrial park development, because gelatin is actually the main and vital substance to create ice cream, to create bakery, to create like what else? Black forest. Pastry. Pastry. And even I think all products need gelatin. Yeah. Even cosmetics need gelatin, Bu Happy, yeah. So that's why even like those who are coming from the Eastern Asia, that they might have an advanced technology for production, for manufacturing, are now opening a plant in ASEAN, Southeast Asia, to have the first ever gigantic and huge maize plant of gelatin. That's one of the future. Number two is and now even like in Germany, in Egypt, they have a product named Sinrise. So they develop a customized products for the flavoring, like like the flavoring of the bakery, of the ice cream, of the gelatin just now, like the flavoring or the the essence, the essence. Even like there is a joint venture project between Germany and Egypt, and to more advanced level, even like in the GSC, Russia, even they develop into their space food laboratory is producing halal food for their astronaut. Masya Allah, right? Even like the Russian country, they're minority, right? Muslim minority, yeah? But then even they developed the first ever halal product for this astronaut food, because when we go to the space, like the pressure is very different with when we're at the earth, right? So the food must be packaged and processed into a certain way how it could be it could be consumed easily without inconvenience from the astronaut. So they developed the product, and like what you mentioned just now, in Indonesia, even LPPOM MUI and our government not only abiding and obliging the halal food and beverage, but also the cosmetics. Even now we call it like barang gunaan, like utilize things that actually we do not consume. If like things that we consume like a food, beverage, you name it, cookies, biscuits, ice cream are very usual lah ya. If we talk, it needs to be halal certified. Udah biasa banget kalau Indonesia. That's very normal. That's very common. But now I think beyond that, even the government has made an obligation to the utilized product like refrigerator, like the socks, like even like for the cosmetics, yeah, and medicine. Cosmetics and medicine definitely things that we consume. But I think as per now, I think is a very critical because people are very aware in terms of the beauty, in terms of the making themselves to be more, modest, yeah? Modest means that, we need to keep ourselves well dressed, well looked, right? As a Muslim, right? In front of others people. Then, like you mentioned just now, even like for shoes as well, even in some of our shops or retail providers, they even say that, okay, these shoes are made from a pork or large skin. Then, so this is considered as a haram. So yeah, I think the development of halal industry is not limited into the food and beverage, but also into the utilized products and also services like you mentioned just now. Tourism, actually financing is part of the halal ecosystem itself, right? But people more familiar with Sharia financing, what is it just now? Islamic financing instead of halal financing. But if we take the needles or take the understanding from the root, it's actually all the same, right? So it needs to be halal and tayyib per se. So I think that's the development that we are really looking forward.
Yeah. And for the financing in Alami, is there any requirement for the business owners to get the financing from Alami? Besides, they have to be halal.
Okay, so instead of being halal, definitely the business owners need to have they need to have credentials, credibility in conducting the business. For instance, like the length of business from the business owners and entrepreneurs need to be validated. For instance, you have a poultry business. Then how long have your business been established? For instance, like, okay, I just established my business 3 months. So it's considered not as a mature enough, right, Bu Happy? So we need to be at least, I've been in the business for about 5 or 10 years. And even like the suppliers, the distributors, we have a good quality trade relations or trade credentials with our supply chain players. That's one. Number two, definitely about their 5C, as usual. 5C, we're happy their character. Then they need to be, They need to be honest and have a strong integrity. Then definitely their credit worthiness as well. Even though we have no fixed asset collateral like in the banks do, because most of the bank have to be asset backed, right? When you go for financing, then you have to have a fixed asset collateral, for instance, like house, warehouse, or shop house. But in Alami, we don't. So we really need to check their because our product is invoice and purchase order financing or supply chain financing. So we also check into their suppliers, Bu Happy, into their bouwheers or their business. For instance, like if like just now we have a we are sending chicken or cows to the distributors, we need to check and validate to the distributors, for instance, Giant or Hypermart, whether you have a transactions vouch to this poultry farm or not, and how is about their quality, how is about their logistics planning, how is about their, what is it, do the amount really match with you? And beyond that, we also check the legality, then we check their credit or financing behavior as well. So actually it's very integrated, not only the qualitative part, the halal part, but also into the quantitative as well. We need to check as well from their working capital needs, whether actually, do you really need the working capital from us? Or even, oh, actually you still have some cash or some financing access that you still need. So we also not act as the one that actually, oh, you need to take financing with us. No, but we could advise them. Actually, from our calculations, based on your financial statement, actually you still access of money that actually you could do to advance your capital or your business development, for instance. So yeah, qualitative, quantitative, halal, credit worthiness, character. So it needs to be, risk management people say it needs to be 360 degree. 360 degree check. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very complex. And we have questions here in Zoom from Bakisu. Beyond the obvious economic advantage, are there any other incentives for marketing and spreading the use of halal items to non-Muslim consumers?
Okay. Could I beg the pardon just now?
Yeah.
How was the question? The first one, Bu Happy? Like.
The economic advantage.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any incentives for marketing?
Okay. Incentive for marketing to non-Muslim consumers. Okay. The question was raised by.
Yeah, I think it's
international students, yeah, from Korea, is it? No.
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your question. So it's such a very brain-wrecking questions. Yes. Just now, I actually, with regards to the questions, is there any incentive for non-Muslim consumers? Even let me go backward first before I'm talking about the incentive, ya Bu Happy. So now even most of the non-Muslim countries like, you know, Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Australia, New Zealand have put the halal industry roadmap into their grand industry roadmap. So actually the big developed nations have put the halal industry as one of the elemental industry that need to be taken care for the near future. Even like for not only for the short and mid term, but also for the long term, because they see that actually there is a demand, there is an unstoppable demand of this product, even with the emergence of not only halal but also sustainability. So people think that now I need to consume food that are not only good for me, that are not only good for my kids, my parents, but also good for the environment. For instance, how actually the explorations of the for instance, like, you know, the palm oil just now, or even like how the farms are being designed in such a way that actually the electricity are using a renewable energy, for instance. So even like the Western government are thinking about that. And do you know, the largest halal meat exporter is not coming from Muslim country. Guess, it's from Brazil, right?
It's from Brazil.
That's from Brazil. Even like Australia and New Zealand are also the second and third largest meat, halal meat exporter, right? So I think that's the importance. Even number one halal or Muslim-friendly tourism provider now is South Korea. Even like, oh, mashallah, even like the government there, who are not Muslim, they put it as their main roadmap, because they think it not only the economic advantage, but also the economic and ESG sustainability for the country and for the consumers. And with regards to the question, whether there is a, incentive for the consumers, definitely the incentive could be commercial or not commercial, right? The not commercial, for instance, like, you know, you will get your body healthier, then you actually your life expectancy will be longer, because actually you consume food that actually, for instance, if you are not using a products that are, there is a research, I forgot, that actually there is a difference of the health of the chicken or cows they are slaughtered by the name of Allah, by by the Islamic way of doing it, compared to the you put the electrification on it. You are putting electrifications, or even in some extreme case, the chicken or the cow could be getting down from the very high building or high place to the down, which is a very inhuman in my opinion, right? And there is a difference on it, and that's from the style of from the non-commercial incentive. And then for the commercial incentive, I think as time goes by, now even like the cosmetic products, like for instance I mentioned like Wardah, like the price is even more competitive, affordable and cheaper with good quality compared with the cosmetic. They are coming from nowhere, and they're saying it like it's a very expensive, but the price is not that really cheap. So actually that's also the incentive for the consumers, right? You get a good price of products, but at the same time the quality is almost apple to apple and in par with the high quality products that are not halal. So I think that's my 2 cents, yeah, about the incentive in terms of the profit base or commercial base, or into our non-commercial base. Boo, happy. Yes.
And this one, I found interesting question.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if our government do this. How does the government separate halal and non-halal area?
Oh, okay.
Integrated industrial activities from upstream to downstream.
Oh, wow, that's such a good question. That's advanced level of halal assurance system, I think. I think in like we discussed yesterday, some of the countries have adopted that, like in Turkey, like even when we're going to Malaysia, when you go to the Aeon, when you go to the department store, instead of like you only get the halal certification into your product, into your potato chips, or into your for instance like porridge, or what is it, cooking oil, but actually there is a substance that they separate the non-halal foods, non-halal related substance into a separated or segregated way. I think that's very good. Even like Bu Happy, that's gonna really appreciate, right? And it is seen, or it is perceived as the one that actually already really consider and envisage that, oh yeah, if you want to take the non-halal, you have to go to the different aisle, different category of market, different category of retailer. For instance, at this row A to row Z are only for halal, then go to the row J and row K, there are row for non-halal. Even in Malaysia, like there is a dedicated room to save or store this kind of non-halal. But for the case of Indonesia, I think that's for the next one, because now I think the government is thinking that actually how the halal and toyib could be received by people in a more scalable way, and there is no sentiments from non-Muslim on it. So I think that's one of the most important thing, I think, because when in the Indonesian social landscape, when we try to differentiate or separate that halal and non-halal, that puts or adds the sentiments between Muslim and non-Muslim, because we are living in a very multicultural, multi-religion way. So I think for Indonesia, when we are living in a pluralistic way of society, that our stakeholders are ranging from not only Muslim but also other religion professor. So I think that's I think next, when the halal understanding, where the halal informations, halal awareness, information adoption have been received very well by people regardless of the religion. Then afterwards we can move into the next stage, that for the non-halal you can go to the separate sectors. It doesn't mean to discriminate. It doesn't mean to segregate that actually the non-halal is not good. No, but actually you have a choices of products and services that you can opt in or opt out. So I think that's the next stage after the government, industry players, academia, then consumers have been successful enough to make this halal adoption are scalable in Indonesia, then we can move forward into the stage. And I think Turkey, Malaysia, Dubai, even in UK, extremely case they have that stores, they are dedicated for non-halal. I think that needs, it also needs to study and research further about the people's sentiments, people behavior. So we do not want, right, this kind of discrimination or segregations tarnishing and even being contradictory or backfiring into our halal fundamentals at the first stage. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, as you mentioned before that the halal label is not trying to classify or specify the products, but create choice.
Create choice, yes.
For consumers.
Yes, create choice. So it's up to the customers. You want something good in the way of Islam that actually definitely will have an impact to your health, to your way of life, and then definitely it links as well with the sustainability, ethical way of doing it, and then sourcing it responsibly. Then you can choose that. But if you want to go with a non-halal or non-ethical one, you can go as well. So it doesn't mean to discriminate or doesn't mean to create two segments, but then it's a choice that actually consumer could go with, right? We're happy.
Okay.
Well, such a very very critical question for me.
So the next question is from Imam. Why is the halal industry important to develop? What is the strategy of the Indonesian government in developing the national halal industry?
Okay. I actually have slides, but then that compare about some countries, right? And like slide number 21, 2020. Yeah, there is a study conducted by this go back again. Yeah. So later you could get this slide. No, next one. Yeah, this one. So actually we compare about how each of the countries in Southeast Asia drive and spearhead their halal industry into such an advanced way. In Indonesia, I think it's very serious. Like I mentioned just now, there is a master plan created by KNECAS, master plan for the halal economy master plan 2019 and 2024 that needs a multi-stakeholders, partnership, engagement and collaborations. And even now, the government give incentives, right, Bu Happy, for the entrepreneurs that go with their halal products. And even like, there are some for the early venture or early built-in startup or entrepreneurs, they could get the halal certification for free. And even now, by intensifying the inclusive manner toward the regime, toward the process development for halal, that now even campus, like what you mentioned just now, could do the community service, could do the halal supervisory. I think that's one of the real actions done by the government. And even now, like the industry players, the Islamic fintech players, Islamic bankings, they even have also incentive or even like put special attention to those entrepreneurs who are venturing into the halal development. So it's not a baby steps. I think it's a giant steps that we do, that we try to change the halal industry landscape in Indonesia radically to the next few years. But we believe that We believe that it needs a gradual process, right? It could not be, because there is a classical proverb say that it easy comes and it easy go. And we believe that actually by having a systematic, structured and gradual process of doing it, it could long last our development way forward. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, it is in its time.
It is time, but definitely. So that's why our discussion just now, we're talking about the actions, right?
The action.
Yeah, we're talking about the actions. We're talking about the real actions that academia do, industry players do, governments do, and users do. Because when we talk about the potentials, the opportunity, it's never ending.
Yes.
And I think that's a very obsolete and expired already when we talk about potentials, opportunity. But now it's time for us to exchange about the ideas, it's exchange about the key takeaways that we do, you do as academia, I do as a practitioners, the end users do, consumers, the governments do, so we could emerge as one. Oh, so this is we take a role in our each part to foster and to bolster this industry, in a holistic way.
Yeah. Okay, the next question. Oh, I think you answered it before.
Okay.
It's about the to get the halal certificate, it requires a large amount of money. What form of government support is there for this cost? Yeah, from the subsidies.
Okay.
Yeah, from the
I just attended a webinar on the halal industry, advancement as well, like a few weeks ago. And actually the government now has standardized the cost of halal certifications.
Yeah.
So now the government has divided or classified the cost for halal certifications based on the industry size, Bu Happy.
Yeah.
Because we have there is a undang-undang or governmental acts saying about the classification of SME, right? When you have a sales turnover or a revenue around that, you're classified as a small enterprise. When you have a sales revenue or sales turnover around that, you're classified as middle, then giant or large corporations. And now even the government are aligning with that standards. So those, for instance, like if Wardah do halal certifications compared to the, for instance, early kick startup cosmetics provider or pharmaceuticals or cosmetics producer, the cost would be different. So we will also check, or the government has also now tried to put a leveling in terms of the costing and pricing. So now I think that statement is, I don't say it's irrelevant, but government is working on it, and even they have the incentive for early kickstart SMEs to be free in terms of getting the halal certifications. And now in the regime of BBGPH or Halal Accreditation Agency, they try to simplify and fasten the process. Previously, like it takes about 97 days. Now, even like not even within a month, they can get it. Faster, and I think that's also proven by the case of there are a lot of halal products. Like if you go to, for instance, in Malang, we have like one local department store that actually a lot of product produced by the UMKM or SMEs are sold there. Like there is apple chips, then jackfruit chips, then potato chips, or even other products produced by our local entrepreneurs. Then you can see there that a lot of halal MUE with its number. So to make sure that the halal logo is not fake, the halal logo is could be responsibly checked. So they put the number, like usually the number of the registration. When you check to that local department store, like a lot of products that have been getting that halal certification. So I think that statement is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant because I think now in 2022, people are getting ease of and convenience in terms of processing that. Even like if you want to get Korean food in Malang, if you want to get Indonesian food, if you want to check the halal, that's very easy. Even I give you tips. If you want to go to Jogja, the halal, the LPPOM MUI Yogyakarta, they have like a full list of restaurant, full list of food producers that have been halal certified, and they update it every 6 months. So you can check like a lot of it, like even like small pecel lele, small Indonesian market food you can get with the halal certifications. That's very amazing, right? And I think Jogja in this case are very serious about that. Compared with our East Java, Bu Happy. Compare with if I Google or if I check with my friends in Halal MUI, they mentioned that East Java does not really, yeah, they have, but I think they keep it themselves. But for Jogja, they make it available in their website. They make it available in the, what is it? Into their Instagram. So I think that's amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Bali should do the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Because every time we go to Bali, we as Muslim, it's, you know, it's hard to get.
It's hard to get the halal products.
Halal.
Yes.
Even it's like a duck or chicken, but it's it doesn't mean that they are halal.
Yeah. Well, agree. The most visited tourism area in Indonesia, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay, we jump into the next question.
Yes, we're happy.
I was wondering about the Fajar Academy that has been launched.
Oh, okay. But
Can you
just
tell me
now.
more? Can you tell us more about the Fajar Academy? What does Fajar Academy do?
Okay, so the Fajar Academy was launched by today, actually, by our founders and co-founders. So it's considered as one of our commitment with regards to the financial literacy and also Islamic finance talent scouting from the university or vocational school to ensure that actually they could get exposures from the Islamic fintech industry. Because if you talk about Islamic fintech players in Indonesia, there are only 8 or 9 Islamic fintech players, so it's still very limited compared with Islamic bank. There are about 200 Islamic banks, yeah, Bu Happy, ranging from Islamic Commercial Bank, Islamic Rural Bank, BPRS, or Islamic BMT, Baitul Mal Mina, or Islamic Cooperative. So in terms of Islamic fintech, that we work heavily onto the digital side, technology development, data analytics, product development, strategy and management, and even digital marketing. Alami is committed to groom the next future leaders for Islamic fintech. So we provide, we have been searching the talents. Like we opened our registration for about the last 1 month, I think, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. We got about 4,000 registrants. Then they will go into series of training. Started from today, the opening of the Fajr Academy. Then they will go to the next stage. So into the every next stage of the coaching or training, they will be eliminated. There is a sort of like a selection process. They have a homeworks to be submitted. Then they have a project to undertake. Then those who are winning later, I'm not sure about the number, need to check with the technical team, but they will get they will get internship in Alami, they will get a pocket money in Alami, and even they can work full time in Alami. So actually the selection process is through training. So we don't cut the registrants or the participants by rejecting their applications, from the first stage. So they have to go to the first training, go to the second, third, and fourth. Then if they deserve the internship or full-time vacancy place, then they can work with us. But at least they can learn, right, in every selection process. So that's, I think, one of the most differential or most distinguished program. And this program is managed by Pak Wahid. Pak Wahid is our Alami Institute Director. So Alami has several groups of entities, right, within. And actually for the Fajr Academy is firstly kicked off and it's managed by the Alami Institute. Yeah. So yeah, we want to groom the next future leaders to work in Islamic fintech.
Yeah, that's a great step.
Thank you, very happy.
And I think this is the last question.
Yeah.
What strategy that Alami do and also the government should do to increase Indonesian people awareness of halal industry?
Okay, wow. This is definitely last but not least. Last but not least question, yeah, baby. I think we have a slide in the slide about the Alami Sharia compliance and Halal Tayyib screening framework. Yeah. How this one, Alami Sharia compliance. Yes, madam. I think before that. Yes, before that again. Yes. So before moving on further to our high-level role, let's talk about the technical role. So actually, when we onboard the beneficiaries, they need to follow this ruling of Sharia compliance. So actually, Alami is not allowed to provide Sharia financing or loans or court or even musyarakah-based, murabahah-based to the beneficiary that are not halal. And we have several criteria. For instance, the foods are intoxicating, then it contains sort of like alcohol, then it's derived from pork, lard, non-halal animal and plants, then the ingredients was derived from the blood, flesh, human body parts, because you know, right, there are emulsifier product, they are processed from the human hairs, so it is used for baking. So it's very frustrating actually, but oh my god, yeah, to reach the economies of scale, some of the irresponsible industry do that. Then even like in our Sharia compliance screening, we also mentioned that actually the materials or the utensils could not mix with the haram materials. So for instance, after cooking lard or pork, you cook chicken or anything halal, then it's considered not halal, right? Yeah. Then after this, we also not allow our beneficiaries providing narcotics or providing non-halal activities. And even like in this section, we talk about, for instance, okay, the food is halal, the beverage is halal, the naming is halal, but how they design the business also have to comply with Sharia compliance. For instance, if like in one place, this is real case. So when I work in one of the Islamic bank before I work in Alami, so actually the food is halal, the beverage is halal, the naming is halal. There is nothing to do with bad naming or negative naming, but then how they design their business is not halal or not Sharia comply. For instance, they have a tropical party, they have full opening of the body area, then like there is things that are not compliant with the Sharia teaching, right? So that's also. So I believe that how we develop the halal industry from Alami is actually we start from the technical side as well. How we onboard our clients also need to follow the Sharia ruling, right, Bu Happy? Then I also mentioned just now about from upstream, middle stream to downstream, we also assist the government. We also assist our clients to be insured. And aside from that, there is one entity called ARKAM. It's actually business incubation or accelerator program. So those who are still not eligible to get the financing will be groomed there. Even like, for instance, they haven't got their halal certifications, then they can ask in the class how to get the certifications. Then even they get some knowledge how to make a halal product from the mentor. They are coming from halal entrepreneurs, for instance. So we have that platform as well. So, and also some of the literation program like this, like the Fajr Academy do. So we try to look at from multi-lenses, multi-perspective. Not only financing core business per se, but also from the financial literacy for students, then also from the, from grooming the early kick business that actually are still not eligible to get the financing because of, for instance, the length of business still very short, for instance, Bu Happy. But then, their giroh or their very spirit to develop halal industry is a very instrumental, it's very remarkable. So we can go help them to mentor. Then I think that's from Alami side, and from Indonesia government side. I think I mentioned this now, not only government are working hard, university are working hard. University are working hard like you, Bu Ida, Bu Firda, even like in the other, you also have to collaborate with other faculty, right? For instance, like faculty of food technology, that actually they have the side of, the knowledge about the halal science. That actually, for instance, how to ensure that the products, the substantial they are used to help baking, to help cooking are halal. Because now, the development of the food technology is very rapid as well. So the science not only coming from us, they are working from the finance, social services, community services, economic development, but also from the people that are working from the science level, from the nutrition, and also those who are working with food technology. So I think that's my 2 cents and the gist of how the Indonesian government are working hand on hand, and even the halal influencers now are getting more sporadic, getting a lot, and now even people are more critical in consuming their product. Oh, this product is halal or not? Then, okay, this product is halal, but the naming is not good. The naming is not tayyib, whether I shall consume it or not.
Yeah.
And even like now, even in some of the, some of the ride-hailing apps like, you name it, Grab, Gojek, or others, they even have a SKU or categorizations that whether the product is halal or not. So yeah, I think it could not be only coming from government, but from academia, from all sectors have to work together to ensure that halal development are getting faster. Yeah.
That's great, and that was a very insightful discussion.
Thanks a lot, Bu Happy. I'm learning as well from you and from all the participants. Mashallah.
Yeah. To close this course, can you give us a closing statement to recap this course?
Okay. All right. Closing remarks. Okay. So we believe that halal industry and development advancement is inevitable. There is no choice that we go or no go. We have to go. But the velocity or the speed of spearheading and championing this industry depends on us. The velocity or the speed of developing this industry depends on the serious intention, serious actions, and series of roadmap and also technicalities not only from government, academia, industry players, consumer and users to make us not only the halal consumers but also the halal producers way forward. And we believe that Indonesia not only becoming the market for the for the Western world with regards to the halal products, but we can self-producing all halal F&B halal products by ourselves because we have the capacity on it. It just matters whether we put this halal industry development as priority or not. And with regards to that, yes, multi-stakeholders collaboration is a key, and also one of the most instrumental and fundamental stakeholders that need to be deepened as well is about from the end user consumers. End user consumers now have been provided with a lot of informations in internet, in Instagram, in Facebook, in TikTok, in many kinds of social media with regards to the halal development. And even now, the halal producers, halal e-commerce, halal manufacturers are everywhere. So it's your choices whether you want to take it or not. But definitely the consequences goes back to you. If you take these halal products, then it will put a barakah and will put blessings to yourself, not only from health, not only from the blessing from Allah, then for Muslim, then not only from the the competitiveness of the price, for instance, but also you help this industry to nurture in the future. Hence, we could compete hands on hands, not only with Malaysia, but also, for instance, with South Korea, with New Zealand. So we can be seen as halal hub in the next future years. So yeah, that's all. We're happy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're happy.
For sharing the experience.
Yeah,
we are very grateful to have you here.
I'm very pleased to learn together as well here. We're happy. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all, participants. You can access the presents in the chat box. Don't forget to fill in the presents. And I think that's enough for our course today. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, we're happy, and all the participants.
Yeah, and then we will see you on the next week in the third topic. And we close this course. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan katsiran. Insyaallah.